Hey guys, welcome back to Umineko. It's been a while. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. It had begun to feel like the discussion of the case was itself taboo. No one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those thoughts were what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So at least on the outside, the parlor once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled. It feels like the rain's gotten a little lighter. Ooh, still pouring down. Ooh. Even if we did stop, there's no put on silent, but it did be nice if the boat came quickly tomorrow. I've had enough of this Western Mansion vacation. Mom, when will the boat come tomorrow? Normally the boat will take the back would arrive at 3 o'clock today. They probably sent a phone call to say they would come after the typhoon passed. More fortunately, the phones aren't working, but they aren't children over there. They were told to both drop off and collect their gas, so they will most likely arrive first thing tomorrow morning. Probably be 9 o'clock, I believe. It's completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. She laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of good as artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, who was trying to enliven anyone's low spirits with some food. Kumasawa was nearly as talented as a professional cook like Goda, but she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was sometimes highly praised. Kenan arranged the food Kumasawa had finished creating on plates under her direction. Kenan also helped the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in that role, he was slightly awkward even though he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't cleverly arrange food, Kenan's expression darkened slightly, but Kumasawa smiled as though everything was fine. Oh, it's arranged beautifully. Kenan aren't you skilled? If that had been Shannon Nissan, it would look even more beautiful. Kenan stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon was always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Kenan was doing it instead. As he remembered Shannon's face and her brutal end, he grimaced. Forget that for now. Genji spoke kindly to Kenan as he advanced upon. Nejo had escaped from the parlor once the mood had grown sour, and Genji became his opponent in a game of chess upon Nejo's request. Yes, I will forget it for now. Indeed, that is probably for the best. Genji purposely refrained from facing Kenan as he spoke. He did so because he understood that things tougher on Kenan if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Nejo also understood that held back any thoughtless words. I wonder where Kenzo-san has gone. I hope that he is safe, but I do not know. However, I believe everything has proceeded as the master has hoped and arranged for. To the start, that would be seeing my role as furniture in service to the master. Aren't you scared, Genji-san? I'm frightened that something bad will occur again tonight. I have nothing to be afraid of. I serve the Ushimura family, and that's all. Nejo sighed through this and noticed I better carefully consider a move. Nejo's very slightly dubious. Could you possibly be thinking that he left out of this? He couldn't even imagine what was happening inside this mansion, but he definitely couldn't deny the possibility that Kenzo had devised something. If you like in silent at chess, Kenzo had opened the game, and as a result, 6 pieces had been defeated. It could be that Genji was calm because he believed he alone was the outside of the chessboard and therefore safe. Nejo thought about it. Isn't everyone just a piece on this chessboard lined up equally without any exceptions? Was it even Genji who had gained more of Kenzo's trust than anyone? No, who was confident of his position as Kenzo's only close friend. Just another one of these pieces laid on the chessboard. Genji-san, I'm really frightened about tonight. I hope with all my heart that we will still be safe when tomorrow morning comes. The guest room Eva and Hideyoshi moved into had originally been built to house guests before that guest house construction. So until a few years ago, they stayed in these rooms every family conference and were very familiar with them. This room was just like a room in a hotel with a bedroom and a bathroom, so even though they were still shut in, far more comfortable than their parlor. Because it's true, you can relax more when you're alone with your family. Maybe it'd be better if everyone else shut themselves in guest rooms and locked the doors. Necessary in these sense so that no one could leave the parlor throwing their weight around. I'm sure no one will be able to talk back. She's always been treated so coldly, so now that Nissan's dead, she's getting excited about finally having so much power. It is seriously how shameless it can be. Come now, don't say that. Natsu-Nissan's doing pretty well. No need to jump on her like that. And about that receipt earlier, he went too far. Come on, if I hadn't said it, there would be another good time to say it. Eva sulking cutely and looked at the television and sat alongside Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed. Still, you haven't been alone like this for quite some time. You're right. Come to think of it, you both and I have gotten pretty old since George was born. Things have been gone by in the blink of an eye. It really has. I wonder if you were too hasty in having a child. Eva's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yes, she had thought of it as once in a lifetime chance. Her older brother Cross, who had been in with her father and child for quite some time. 6 years passed after his marriage, and Natsuhi without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. Eva herself had thought that since her name would be moved outside the Umineko family register when she got married anyway, it didn't matter whether a successor to the headship was born or not. And then one day she had a heavenly revelation, and maybe was whispering to the devil that she had listened to her in her greed. If she gave birth to a successor first, wouldn't she be able to remain in the Ushiromir register? If things weren't well, she might even have a chance to inherit the Ushiromir family herself. When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, she approved of it instantly. This was because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, no real close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more the long-forgotten thing called family. So when they got married, he had fussed over which last name they were to keep, and had quickly agreed to have his name entered into the Ushiromir family register. It hadn't been easy to persuade Kinzo, but it says his daughter Eva knew Kizo's personality well, so by choosing a time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuhi, she was magnificently able to make accept Hideyoshi as an adopted son-in-law. Look at Hideyoshi had achieved success after starting from nothing. Kinzo might have been a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and approved his transfer into the Ushiromir register. George would eventually become the successor to the Ushiromir family. They had raised him strictly with that purpose in mind. He had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went. That was why he had been permitted to fall in love with a servant like Shannon. So when she learned that Shannon was dead and is now invalid, though part of her had still been shocked by the gruesome crime, part of her had been relieved that her dear George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. I had hated Crust and he saw him long ago. It was so full of himself, always swaggering around, so proud that he would one day become the head. So I wanted to get back at him. Was that just a childish emotion? But in the end, the emotion guided my entire life. If I had been then, it would have been fine. But because of that emotion, I got you and George involved. I used you. Eva, don't blame yourself for that. Hideyoshi got up and held Eva's shoulder. She could feel a warmth and understanding from him. Well, I reached the halfway point in my life long ago, but I have absolutely no regrets about how I lived my life. Not one. I think that since I've been with Eva, I've been able to relish an enjoyable life with that other men never will. After I lost my relatives and war, you reminded me what the warmth of family is. So I'm grateful to the Ushiromir family, and I think of it as my only one. In this life, I've lived with you, not a single thing's been wasted. It's really been a fun life till today. Thank you, darling. Eva hung her head, burning her face on Hideyoshi's chest, probably knowing the parlor could even imagine that the sight of Eva existed. I'm the one who should be thanking you. Until today, there hasn't been a single day I've regretted being with you. Me too. I'm so glad to have you by my side. George is already a fine adult. Even if I don't look out for him, he's a man who could do this job well on his own. I wonder, around New Year's, do you want to go spend some time in the Maldives? Just as no one else. No way. Aren't you always saying that you're so busy responding to New Year's cards that you don't even sleep? That this New Year's, I won't read New Year's cards. I'll just stay quiet and check to see if I won the New Year's lottery. I'd be sure and nice if we want a color TV this year. No way, I don't want to waste time checking the lottery while in the Maldives. None of that either. How does it sound? Just the two of us take it easy like when we were newlyweds just before George was born. Yes, in that case, fine. I hear the Maldives were wonderful. An island with nothing on it, surrounded by beautiful coral reefs and cottages lined up over the water. Like when we were newlyweds, just say, starting when. As soon as I finish up some business, I won't know until I ask the travel agency, but probably before New Year's Eve. No way, right now. I want to go right now. And even nagged at his lips in a peevish yet flirtatious manner. And only as I filled the room with a distant voice of the announcer of the news, which Hideyoshi had left on the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. La 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 la. La la la. Anytime now. Here we go. Notice I knock on the door and Geiji-san entered. Madame, dinner has been prepared. Will you eat in here again? Yes, have it brought here. Is Dr. Ninja still in the kitchen? Yes, he said he wishes to carefully deliberate over his next move. Don't not worry, he is with the other servants. Genji sounds good enough at chess to be grandfather's opponent. I hear he's even better than Dr. Natural, right? That's right. I'll go play against me, but he must let me win. Mariah feels like it'll be time to eat soon, but look at you. You've been watching TV all day long. You still haven't gotten bored. Ooh, I'm always watching TV, so I'm fine. Ooh. And Mariah sure is a TV kid. Food's coming, so we have to clean up the table. Earlier we had torn several pages out of Mariah's notebook, and now there was a mess where everyone had been drawing together. Just got being and cleaned up quickly, so everyone here really can draw. I never guessed. Genji asked Eva and Hideyoshi whether they at least have dinner with us, although they probably turn us down. Certainly. First father and now Eva-san is quite hard to gather everyone in the Ushimir dinner table. Natsuhi felt her headache start throbbing and again lightly held her temples. Ooh, I bet they're going to be dead or something or missing. I don't know, I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen now. The distance from the kitchen to the parlor wasn't that great, so Genji had gone and come back by himself, but the guest room was a little farther away. Natsuya wanted to avoid being alone whenever possible, and just now Nanjo had also admonished him, saying it would be better if he held a little more concern for his safety, and Ken accompanied Genji, and the two of them went to the Eva and Hideyoshi in their guest room. Genji locked the door. Eva-sama and Hideyoshi-sama dinner has been prepared. He waited a short while for them to come out, but there was no response. Genji-sama, look at this. Oh, there's going to be blood on the door. And pointing under the door. A Western envelope had been inserted under it. Normally when something was inserted this way, it'd be interpreted as a message from someone outside to the room. Outside into someone in the room. Since this might be a problem known for even Hideyoshi is that thing. It's not something that Ken and Genji was supposed to take interest in. But this Western envelope was of Kinzo's, the same kind as Mariah had taken out last night and surprised everyone with. There can be no mistake, it's one of the master's envelopes. Or could it be? Even though this was one of Kinzo's envelopes, the letter Mariah read out loud previous night had come from Kinzo. Genji continued knocking a little harder and called out in a loud voice, Eva-sama, Eva-sama, it's Genji. Are you there? Please answer, Eva-sama. When there's no response from inside. Sometimes the servants would to call someone for guests for meals, the guests would be sleeping, so they believe they wouldn't wake up. In times like that, the servants would stick a letter in the door to show that it was time to come out and leave the guests be. But despite that, Genji be even harder on the door and called Eva's name. However, there's no answer. He got stuck up to his ears to the door, held his breath, listened to any sounds coming from his side. I hear something that sounds like the television, but I don't sense anyone. The room might be empty. Genji took out a handkerchief to carefully not to touch it with his bare hands. Gently put out an envelope, dab, and stuck under the door. It was sealed with deep red sealing wax. Without a doubt, the mark on the sealing wax had come from the Ushiomiya family's head ring. Eva-sama, Eva-sama, please answer. Are you still in your room? But there was no answer. There was a chance that those two would aimlessly walk around the mansion. This is the home Eva had grown up in, but there was plenty of reason to think this chick on a casual stroll. She groped around his pocket and pulled out the bundle of keys, which contained the key that would open the guest room. Genji-sama couldn't understand what this meant. They would sometimes unlock the door so they could go and do things like make the beds, but only after they made sure the guests were out. To unlock the door for any other reason, they expect you to do so, and there's a chance the guests haven't given permission and might still be there within the action of becoming of a servant. But Genji decided if the only problem that his knock hadn't received a reply, it wouldn't have gone this far. But the envelope on the door was doubtlessly one of Kinzo's, or rather one of the Western envelopes of the Ushiomiya family had. After last night, the sender of this envelope could be someone other than Kinzo. If this letter had been sent out by someone else, Eva-sama, my apologies. I'm going to enter your room. After giving that final notice, Genji stuck one of the keys from the bundle to the keyhole. There was a sound of the door unlocking, and after slowly turning the knob, he slowly started opening the door. Light seeping through the cracked door. Were they in the room, or had they forgotten to turn out the lights? Clank. It has been the sound of the door chain being pulled tight. The chain had been secured. The chain couldn't be secured from the outside, so it could also prove that they were in the room. The sound of voice on the TV seeped out the room. The lights, the chain, the TV. All these things made it clear they were in the room, but there was no sign of them. Genji called to Eva once again through the crack of the door, but there was no answer. Genji-sama, what should we do? As part of their job, the servants were unable to unlock almost any lock in the mansion. Were able to unlock almost any lock in the mansion, but they knew to open the door with the chain. The only way to get the chain was to cut it. They were certainly not permitted as a part of the servants' usual work. A creepy chill had already rushed up their backs. Caden held his breath and tried to see someone through the door, but even so, he was not able to sense anyone. I will call Madame and return Ken and cut the chain. Yes. As Ken hurried away to the gate and cutting until Genji called him to stop. Wait, Cannon. Return to the kitchen and take Kumasawa with you. You must not act alone. Yes, certainly. It looked like Cannon was wondering why they had to do such this troublesome in this urgent situation, but Genji's-san had said it without worrying as he couldn't care what happened to himself, but in the worst case scenario, he didn't want anything to happen to Cannon. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was piling food on the serving cart, and Neji was waiting for Genji, apparently wanting to show him the move he'd finally thought that might turn the tables on him. When Genji's appearance acted immediately told him that something was wrong. Oh, what has happened, Genji-san? Dr. Neji, my apologies, but please allow the specialist to be suspended for the time being. Cannon, take care of the chain. Kumasawa stopped saying up dinner for now, accompanying Cannon. I will go over to Madame. If you would come with me, Dr. Najo. Has something happened? Genji took Najo, who still didn't know what was going on, quickly left the kitchen. Kumasawa, my apologies, but please come with me. What's happened, Cannon-san? Kumasawa said almost exactly the same thing as Najo, unable to take the situation, and chased after Cannon, who had flown into the hallway. Taking Kumasawa with them, Cannon into the storage room, looked through the tools packed in the toolbox hanging all over the walls, trying to find something that could be used to cut the chain. What are you looking for? Let me help too. We're cutting the door chain. Where was that large wire cutter? A door chain? Oh, why would you speak like that? The chain that Iwa-sama and Hiroshi-sama's room. Even though they should be inside, they didn't answer when we called them. It took Kumasawa something to figure out how cutting the chain Iwa and Hiroshi not answering were connected, but she did realize that this was an urgent situation. That will probably do the trick. Cannon took a very large wire cutter that had been hanging on the wall. It was called a cutter, but maybe it'd be easier to understand if we say it was shaped like a large pair of pliers. Cannon remembered once being warned that this dangerous tool could easily cut through one of your fingers. Cannon took that and rushed up the stairs. He already knew this instinctively. He should fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Or perhaps it was already. Please wait, Cannon-san. Ha ha. Hurry. Kumasawa eventually caught up with them, gasping for breath with both hands on her knees. When Cannon changed his grip on the wire cutters and looked up at the door, he let an awe-struck speechless. What is this? Eep? Kumasawa screamed weakly, her face pallid. There's no surprise, because right there on the door, just like the magic circle had been drawn on the shutter of the rose garden storehouse, there was another eerie shape drawn like blood, like paint. However, it would be odd to call this one a magic circle, because unlike what most people would expect, it wasn't a circle of shapes drawn inside it, but a slightly more complicated geometrical shape. However, those strange characters filling in the gaps which were from the alphabet, were the same kind as the ones on the magic circle on the shutter. But the thing that had Cannon struck speechless wasn't how eerie the magic circle was. It was something like this hadn't been here a short while ago. First, he had to take a trip back to the kitchen. After that, he had gone to the storage room to grab a tool and headed right back. Put those together, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone have something this creepy during that period of time? As though it had just been drawn, almost like the door itself was bleeding. Several unsettling vertical red lines, slowly dripping, getting longer and longer. Eek, eek. Kumasawa's knees gave, and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa hadn't done this first, the Cannon surely would have wanted to. Beatrice-sama, eek. It's the work of Beatrice-sama. How horrid, how horrid. Cannon gulped and readied the wire cutter and approached the door. He didn't want to get close to this disturbing magic circle, but he really didn't want to touch the steady, dripping substance that looked like blood. But if he didn't get close, he wouldn't be able to cut the chain. Fighting this cold feeling, he gulped again, and after gathering his courage, he went even closer, putting the wire cutter up against the chain. He then pressed with all of his strength, managing to cut through the chain far more easily than he anticipated. The cut chain fell into the 2 separate parts, which continued to clang as they swayed back and forth. Cannon-san, there's an envelope by your feet, and is it that one of the masters? It looked like Kumasawa had also noticed the wizard envelope at the bottom of the door, and the ceiling must have been sealed with the head's ring. Ken hesitated for just a second whether he should open the letter first and check inside the room, but eventually decided on fulfilling his original purpose. Ken pulled a handkerchief out of his pocket. This was so he wouldn't leave fingerprints on the door. If his worst fears were realized, the police would have investigated this room too. He slowly pushed the door open. He was able to get more clearly hear the sound of television, which had been sleeping off his family the whole time. Iwa-sama? Iwa was lying face up on the bed with her shoes still on. Kumasawa ran fearfully after Cannon, who was hiding behind his back, screaming the short eek again while she saw Eva like that. Eva's shoes had been the first part of her that Cannon had seen, so the honest of wearing shoes at bed was the first thing to strike him. When Eva's head shifted into his line of sight, Cannon couldn't help but let a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Eva's forehead, something had been placed. Something was growing there. No, right in the center of her forehead. Was it an old-fashioned knife? That weapon like this is sticking out. Damn. At the base of where it was stuck and blood dripping down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave way more as she sank down to the floor. Her mouth kept flapping open and closed, but she couldn't even scream. Eva was dead, with some kind of weapon sticking out of her forehead. Both eyes were wide open, and major the person who killed her must have been burned into them. But the only mouth capable of naming that person had been shut for all eternity. Even though her forehead was the last place they wanted to look, they couldn't hear the eyes from it. Right there, the weapon was stuck in Eva's forehead, standing almost perfectly upright. On the handle was a complicated design that you wouldn't expect to see an ordinary weapon. A thing could be summed up the word occult. It was a vulgar object with a design that might have been of some demon. What about Hideyoshi-sama? Hideyoshi-sama, he was on top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? After taking a backwards glance at Kumasawa, still on her knees, stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. At that moment, he opened the door. He was greeted by the steam and the sound of shower. The bathroom was full of the same familiar style as most hotel bathrooms. When taking a shower, a waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. That waterproof curtain was half open. Lying tumbled down the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked with both eyes open and pointing right at Cannon. Just like Eva with the weapon, the demon-like design was stuck in his forehead. Since his head would have been under the shower's hot water this whole time, his face was half covered with filthy with blood like Eva's had been. With the sight of him dead while still taking a shower was tragic enough. Just in her Netsu's voice coming from the hall. She was probably coming to Kenshi. Again with this graffiti. About this letter, what does it say inside? I don't know, I haven't read it yet. We shouldn't touch it carelessly. The culprit's fingerprints might be left on it. We should hand it over to the police. They went out their way to leave it here. I'm sure they wouldn't have left fingerprints on it, as Natsuya said that this should be the envelope. And before she gets contents, she entered in the room itself where she found Eva dead. Eva-san, Madame Hideyoshi-sama is here too. This is truly atrocious. Kennen, turn off the shower. Don't let this be any more pitiful than it needs to be. Yes, ma'am. Kennen gripped his handkerchief and twisted the valve, turning off the shower. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen with its cap off. It literally looks like it has been attacked while taking a shower. There's still a small splash of blood clinging to the wall of the bathtub, and the combination of red and white made a horrible contrast. Dr. Nanjo, I understand. No sign of postmortem liberty. Rigor mortis hasn't begun either. It would seem that an hour or so has passed since they were killed. But even so, how a weapon with such a short handle could even do that to the skull, I cannot imagine. I and Ninja checked their pulse and our people speaking certain of their deaths once more. As Karen watched his business-like treatment, he thought, couldn't you tell at a glance their death all doing all that? Ninja thought about removing the weapon, but then it decided it'd be better to preserve the scene and hand it over to the police, so he left it alone. But a close inspection of the base showed it that it didn't have a blade. In fact, it was more conical than a blade shaped. He noticed that rather than a knife, it was more like a short-handled spear, with a shape better than suited for thrusting and slicing. Rather than a short spear, you might call it a thick ice pick. At any rate, after looking at this saying, no further words were needed to describe what sort of terrible purpose such eerily designed weapons were originally made for, nor was it necessary to explain how they carried out their function. Natsuhi, hoping to escape the repulsive steam filling the bathroom as soon as she could, covered her mouth with the handkerchief and dashed from the room. Just very near gruesome bodies for an instant it had been enough to burn the image into her eyes. If she looked any longer, then that image would surely remain in her vision for all eternity. The rising image of vomit was exactly the same feeling she had that morning at the gardening storehouse. For a while, Natsuhi couldn't help but stand with her back facing against him, fighting that sickness in her stomach. Anyway, we can't let the children. We can't let George couldn't see this room. Seal this room with all haste. Yes, we mustn't let them see. If George saw his parents in this brutal state, but they could tell that those fiercely racing footsteps in the hallway belonged to George even before he came dashing into the room. George and the other children began waiting in the parlor. However, when they saw Gitchy speak to Natsuhi, then they turned pale and fled out the parlor. They felt a sense of foreboding. When they saw a large group of people gathered around the guest room, they were sure of it. Father, mother. What is this? Another magic circle? And you and Uncle Hiroshi are safe, right? Hey, Kennen-kan, what's this all about? Battler-sama. Kennen didn't have anything to say. George screamed after he ran to the room, told everything they needed to know. Wow, who did this? I'll kill you. George got in there. Natsuhi touched her shoulder with her hand, but he violently shook her off. George fell over beside Eva and buried his face into the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. Then he pounded on the bed with his fist over and over again. George, Nissan, hang in there. Battler-sama. Battler had his back against the wall of the hallway and was covering his eyes with his right hand, weeping without restraint. Horrible. That's horrible. He proposed to the girl that he loved and lost her the next day. And on the same day, even his mom and dad were killed. Is that too harsh? Of course, it's sad whenever anyone dies, no matter who did it is. But the battler, those that's alone on the deaths with others for far more worthy of pity. Anyone here now lost that was close to them. George would still want to be pitied. However, George's pain was far greater than anyone else's here. Battler. I know everyone dies sooner or later. If you're a human, you eventually reach a time when you've got to fight the sorrow of losing someone close to you. But still, shouldn't that be far in the future? And for anarchy and shouldn't this visit him one at a time? Horrible. It's too horrible. That bastard. Does it that he have even a speck of humanity, sympathy in him? Ew, Battler, don't cry. Mariah tried to comfort Battler in a mechanical sounding voice. Battler violently wiped his tears. Yeah, damn it, I won't cry anymore. Tears of regret, tears of sadness, I won't shed them again. It's all useless. The witch has got me back to the corner. I'm always on the defensive. And that's useless. It's all useless. I'll spin the chessboard around. That bastard probably thinks we'll be running scared like sheep until tomorrow before we try anything. But guess what? I'll spin it around. That bastard can't keep this on until tomorrow either. We won't be hiding away, pissing ourselves. That bastard will. I'll expose you. You'll see by tomorrow. No, screw tomorrow. Tonight. Before it's over, I'll be gripping you by the collar. Damn. At any rate, we'll lock this room and leave everything as it is until the police come. No bitches I will take it. Natsuhi announced it as though she didn't care whether they agreed or not. If anyone had a right to object, he would have been George, but he looked as though she had shed enough tears. George nodded slightly, still facing away from the others, and when he stood up, everyone else agreed too. Natsuhi still hadn't opened the western envelope with the family head that she picked up, but now she decided to leave this room, but she decided to conceal it in the parlor where everyone could watch. As soon as they walked out into the hallway to head back to the parlor, some of them immediately felt something in the place, or maybe something strange. Ew, stinks. Did you notice it too, Mariah? Seriously, what's that smell? It's awful. When they went to sniff the air, they didn't notice a horrible burnt smell drifting through the hallway. One that none of them smelled until then. I will quickly go check the kitchen and try to turn the flame off. After noticing a burnt smell was natural that Kumasawa, who had just been using the burner in the kitchen, suspected that everyone slip up and caused state. Kumasawa hastily dashed away. Can I go with Kumasawa? Do not let her be alone. Yes. After nodding at Genji's order, Ken followed her after her. He wasn't running, but as he followed her, he tried to search for the cause of the smell in the other directions as well. Ooh, stinks, ooh. It truly is a stench that makes the nose wrinkle. However, that doesn't mean we can't just open a window for ventilation. And this he was elected to open windows in a situation where self-defense was so important. Let us not run to the fan. I do not believe there will be any need to open the windows. George and Nikki, is it okay if I talk to you? If it's about finding the culprit, then I have no problems. It seems that George had managed to climb out of that abyss of sorrow. All that filled is just now is quite the flame of hatred towards the culprit who had stolen the life of the one he loved and his blood's parents. The chain for the rest of the room was set. From what I could tell by looking at it, I'm positive that couldn't be opened from the outside. In other words, this was a perfect closed room. That does seem to be the case. In the case of the Rose Garden storehouse, they might have sneaked the shutter's key out of the servant's room. Or maybe they had a duplicate key. I can imagine many ways they could have done it. But this chain is different. I'll generally use locking techniques. The chain is the simplest one to create with a closed room. Only the chain will block anyone coming in from the outside as long as it's physically broken. So the culprit couldn't have gone in or out through the door? That's interesting. Just a few hours ago, I seem to remember anyone making a fuss out of the enter room without using the door. Back then, we always heard Cole wondering how grandfather had disappeared from his room. They were seen when he was stuck in the door, and the wind proved that the door had remained sealed. And since not Natsuhi was only one person to enter or exit during the time, she was under suspicion. And even proposed a theory about how Natsuhi might have thrown grandfather out the window and left by the door herself. But this door is so simpler. It was sealed from the inside by the door chain, and the window had been locked from the inside, and the bodies had been inside the room. But this time it really happened with the exaggeration in a true closed room. That's right. If you include grandfather's disappearance, 3 cases have occurred, and all three times the door had been a point of interest. The first was a shutter. There was a key in the servant's room, and if we assume someone knew about that, this can only be called a closed room. The next was the door sealed by the receipt. However, Natsuhi entered that room, so if the grandfather had left it through the window had been thrown out, she would have been able to lock the window before escaping. Or more like my theory, grandfather could have hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, the story could be defeated if they handle desperate tricks, and that since you can't really tell this one. You really can't call this one a closed room either. And now we have the door sealed with the door chain. Finally, we have to give up. And the door, everything had been locked. It was a perfect closed room. The first had been closed room because everyone could be suspected. The second had been closed room because he could be suspected. But this time, no one could be suspected. This was a perfect closed room because the door chain formed a seal that blocked everyone equally well. In that case, did the culprit carry out the crime without entering the room? Was some method from the outside room? Good point. Even though the chain makes it impossible to open and wide enough for a person to fit through, you can call it a small crack. Did the culprit knock on the door to make them peer up before attacking them? Wait, am I missing something? Yeah, you are. If I knew his body had been lying right next to the door, it might have been possible. But she was on her bed at the back of the room, and ugly, she was in the bathroom. Looking found the crack in the door, you couldn't even see them, and you couldn't reach them with your hands either. They even saw you, so I don't have a clue. So that was tugging softly at my sleeve. It was Mariah. Ooh, satisfied? What do you mean satisfied? Hee. Battler, since you didn't want to suspect any of your relatives, you need to wish that you wanted the couple to be Beatrice, right? Well, Beatrice granted that wish, just as you asked. She did something that completely impossible for a human to make you believe in the witch. And now you're complaining? How selfish. Hee. Ouch. I tapped Mariah, who was laughing unpleasantly on the head with my fist. Sure, thanks for granting that wish. That just now was to thank to you, and also to teach you to stop laughing when it's inappropriate. More importantly, tell me, there was another mysterious scribble on the door and even in Uncle Hideyoshi's room. Was that another magic circle? Hehehe. That one had really memorable characters design, so I'd hope you at least knew what it was. Ouch. I don't know which, that's why I'm letting you take this credit. Quit whining and explain. You sure are violent, Battler. I won't tell you if you're too mean to get it. Ouch. Ooh, I'll say it. Stop hitting me. That's the first magic circle on the moon. What does it mean? What is this magic circle's effect? What does the Hebrew writing mean? And words from the Old Testament, Psalms 107 verse 16. For he has broken gates of brass and cut through bars of iron. This magic circle has two effects. First, it can open every door regardless of which method had been used to lock it. That sure is convenient, so you're saying they're trying to make it look like there is a witch because this closed room has a door that can be opened without relying on magic. And the other effect, when you're blocked by a number of doors in all directions, it opens a door. By using it in a difficult situation, it gives you a solution. You hadn't even thought of it until then. Generally speaking, you see the powers of observation, discernment, inspiration, intuition. Kee, it just is trying to provoke you, since there's no way lowly humans like Batler can figure out how this door is open. Kee. Ouch. Okay, good work, so shut up. Sounds great. I'll accept the challenge from the witch. Mariah-chan, things like witches and demons don't exist in this world. Someone killed father and mother. I don't know whether that was someone I know or not, but either way, it's definitely human. Yeah, but how? How did they reach those two through the crack in the door? It couldn't have been more than 2 centimeters wide. Anyway, I can hardly stand this stench. What in the world could it be? We haven't found out yet, haven't we? Kaden and Kubiso had gone on ahead, realized the spell was coming from the kitchen even before they arrived there. This is because they noticed an even thicker web of stitch rising up the stairs, leading to the basement, which they passed on their way to the kitchen. The boiler room. I wonder if there's something wrong with the boiler again. No stairs led starting to the ground boiler room. The match's boiler was old and in poor condition. Both of them had witnessed problems with the boiler on several occasions, but they had never smelled the boiler belching out a stitch like this before. Slam. What was that sound? The only thing they heard from the base was definitely the sound of the closing door. Kubiso had phrased it as a question, but she already knew it could be anything else. Kubiso was so surprised at the sound that her knees gave away yet again as she cowered. After all, at that very moment, no one could have been in the boiler room. Just a few seconds ago, everyone had been caught around together, and he heard Yoshi's room, so who closed the sound of the door closing just now? Kenan-san. After taking a second to sort the situation, Kenan ran down towards the basement. Since they had heard the sound of the door closing just now, there was no sign of anyone coming up the stairs. The person who closed the door had to be inside the boiler room now. Like the boiler room had a dead end, Kenan went and rushed in hastily. I bet Kenan was a servant, so he knew. There was 2 entrances in the boiler room, one that opened to the mansion and one that opened to the courtyard, so he needed to chase them now they might slip away. Kubiso would reach the same conclusion long after Kenan did, but she couldn't let him go alone. And the thing in the boiler room was the culprit, and now partner had easily killed 6 adults in the first murder. Then no matter how Kenan confronted them, he wouldn't be a match. Of course, his argument, even if Kubiso would join him, he wouldn't change anything. Anyway, after a delay, Kumasawa decided that she mustn't let Kennen go alone, and she raced down the stairs. At that time, Kennen was already in the boiler room. The boiler room's characteristic damp heat tormented him, and it was so an unpleasantly smelling hot place. On top of that, the room was full of that horrible stench which made Kennen feel like he was going to be sick. There was no doubt that the room was the source. In that case, Kennen should have been searching for the smells coming from. However, Kennen kept gazing straight forward as he grabbed a hatchet from a tool shelf just off to the side of the door. He then stretched out his hand because he wanted a hatchet, and he wanted to grab a weapon, any weapon. Why? Kennen gazed into the darkness so the naked light bulb couldn't pierce. He then answered, "In the roulette, you've been bet on a number of colors, red or black, very enough for a payoff. However, low risk bets like black and red only offer a similar low payoff." The words coming from Kennen's mouth were swallowed up by the darkness. That darkness suddenly started to swirl, glittering. I shit, I knew it was the butterflies. It was such a fantastical scene. Golden sparkling butterflies that hid in shadows all over the boiler room, flapped their wings, twirled beautifully, and gathered in the darkness, disappearing. Kennen continued speaking, directing his words to the darkness as it swallowed up the butterflies. As the butterflies gathered in the darkness, they perhaps probably know they would certainly laugh, but Kennen continued to speak without flattering in the slightest. However, if you put a balance with the lower probability, your payoff increases proportional to the risk. The master called us to seeing despite an astronomical risk a miracle, and called the astronomical paid off gain as a result of magic. I have no interest in what kind of magic you and the master were seeking when you spun that roulette, but you forgot something. You forgot that in roulette there's a pocket that's neither black nor red. Roulette has a special pocket called Zero, which means that the house succeeds in certain variants of the game. This means all the coins bet on the table will be swept up just as though anyone had forfeit. I set my heart on just one thing. I decided that if Shetton were to be killed and I was swept alive, I sacrificed this list of mine and bring this roulette of yours to ruin. This is one of your master's rules, and it certainly is one of yours. I made this rule myself. I'm not furniture anymore. I'm not Zero on your roulette. Kennen's face twitched with humiliation. It was clear that his defiance against his own weaknesses had been ridiculed somehow. Kennen's brows creased even further in a fierce expression that he never shown to anyone appeared on his face. The hand grasping the hatchet was shaking. His sweat began drops which slid downward. It was clear that the emotion causing Kennen's hand to shake was just anger. However, Kennen suppressed that emotion. "I won't let your words lead me astray again. This is where the demon's roulette ends. Wait another 1,000 years in hell for your next summoner, Beatrice." Kennen raised the hatchet and tried to dive into the darkness. That darkness definitely sneered. It sneered that courage is a vulgar, lazy, futile, meaningless. Oh shit, Kennen's gonna die too, ain't he? I hope Kennen doesn't die. He's so cool. But nothing's happening. Everything's black. Oh, we saw a flash of Beatrice's portrait. Does that mean something? I don't know. That's one thing I'm not liking. It's the whole slow scene loading thing. It stays black for too long. Anyway, Kennen, his hatchet still held aloft. Or he's still alive. Alright, cool. Couldn't take another step after that. With the clay, the hatchet that had been grasping fell and rolled onto the floor. And falling out with a pair of thuds. Kennen's knees hit left and then right, and that hand which looked like he was trying to catch the sky. Now that hatchet had been dropped, gradually lowered, and then on his chest, and the other hand did the same. Oh no! Right there, a handle with the demon-shaped design was buried into his chest. The same type of weapon that had been stabbed into Ibe Hidoshi's forehands with Kennen's chest. Kennen was curled up in anguish, fresh blood dribbling from the corner of his mouth. It was makeup too extreme for Kennen's white skin. Around the scene, a glittering gold butterfly stands through the darkness, memorizing. It was a beautiful, beautiful dance, a female march of tribute, ridicule, and contempt for a single boy's self-sacrifice. Kennen had already been prepared for his own death, but although he couldn't do nothing but accept the death he received, he attempted one last measure of resistance. He grasped a hand of the weapon, sticking to his chest with both hands, and grinding his teeth in acute and earthly pain, he pulled it out. For only a moment, a bright red spray gushed out, and an unpleasant bloop sound. It probably resembled the sound of Kennen's soul as it was sucked into the swamp of the dead. Oh, come on. Don't kill Cannon. Cannon-san, eek! Someone, eek! Kumasawa screamed at the incomprehensible sight in front of her. Cannon was lying in a pool of blood. Kumasawa's heart was a complete mess. Oh, what a horrible fate. He would have been killed if I had been with him. Oh, what incredible luck. If I had been with him, I might have been killed too. As she screamed, her expression was filled with complete confusion, and all the muscles of her face were pulled up, almost as though she was smiling while crying, but no one would have made fun of an expression like this. What is it, Kumasawa? Answer me, Kumasawa. The first one dashing was in no suit holding a rifle. Butler and Genji dashing after her. Normally, they probably would want to start discussing the origin of that violent stench filling the boiler room. But they saw Cannon, who was lying on the ground as if he were drowning in an ocean of his own blood. The stench wasn't important anymore. Cannon, answer me. Genji, bring Dr. Nanjo here. Natsui realized that even though Cannon was on the verge of death, he was still conscious, so she sent Genji to the doctor. Natsui, holding the rifle aloft, faced the darkness in the center of the boiler room and shouted, "Who is hiding over there? Come out quietly. If you don't come out from here, I'll shoot without mercy. We need light." And Natsui, light them up. Battler Thicket quickly took a large flashlight from the tool shelf along the door and used it to light through the darkness Natsuzi was laying into, but the light only shone on the mechanical-looking pipe in the door. The door had been left open a small crack, and it was obvious that someone had left through here in a hurry. Natsuzi, where does that door go? Genji, where does that door lead to? The courtyard. Like hell, I'll let you get away, you damn bastard. Battler let a worker as he stepped into the door. Cool air from the outside suddenly rushed in. There was someone thin, rough stairs leading up. Battler ran up them shouting, "Wait, Battler-kun, it's dangerous to be on your own right now." Natsui was also rushed up the stairs, chasing after Battler. They were in the courtyard. The courtyard I mentioned had been built strictly for lighting purposes, so it was a very elegant place, because it surrounded on all sides of the air was calm and completely undisturbed, even though they could hear the sound of strong winds. There was only an essential sorrowful rain. As he threw the cold and scattered raindrops dashing up the stairs into the courtyard, Battler looked in every direction. Of course, the odds of him finding the suspicious silhouettes just standing around nonchalantly were pretty much zero. Battler spun and looking all around. He turned again and again. He kept spinning until he almost lost his sense of direction. He prayed that he would see the culprit somewhere in the scenery, but there was no chance. All he saw was spawn was more and more of Menchie's heartless walls and windows. Furthermore, there was 2 inches into the mansion from the courtyard. Neither of them were locked, because the courtyard couldn't be entered from the outside. The mansion doors bit without locks. He didn't know which one they left through. He had to give up. Battler pounded the wall with his fist, swearing, "Battler-kun, you mustn't run by yourself." "Battler-kun." Battler pressed his forehead against the wall, which he scratched at it with his fingernails as it cried. Damn it. And even Uncle Yoshi, no Cannon-kun, you killed a full 6 people. And that wasn't enough, so you had to kill 3 more. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And even Uncle Yoshi were always kind of fine. I just met Kenny yesterday, but I'm sure I've gotten along fine with him. Why did you kill them? Why? You know when people die, they don't come back to life again, right? And they're gonna quickly split up again like bamboo shoots. Why did you kill them? Why? Battler was a boy understood the feelings of pain and regret in his person's heart, so he cried. With all his strength, that's what he had always thought Battler was a frank person, and was a little surprised to find he had this delicate side. And at the same time, she understood how easily hurt the heart of a young person could be, so she held him. It's alright. I will definitely protect you, George Kamaracha and Jessica, as a mother and a representative of the Shumir family. Yeah. Battler up to summons in Nessie's chest for a while, wiped his tears with a bitter smile, as though she had been like that the whole time, and tried to appear as though he cried more than enough already. Anyway, let's go back for now. Protecting ourselves is a higher priority than finding the culprit. Tomorrow the boat will arrive. After that happens, the police will come and everything should be brought to light. There's no way the culprit can escape this island, no matter how much they struggle. That's right. When the police come, when the seagulls cry, the crime will be solved. But for some reason, Battler felt a slight sense of uneasiness, as if the seagulls would never cry again. And that couldn't be true. When the typhoon passes, surely the lively seagulls will return to the harbor again. And a black screen. I returned to the boiler room along with Natsuhi and told anyone weekly that we hadn't found anything. We heard that Dr. Nanjo and George Onicki had carried Kaneko to the servant room. The servant room had a first aid kit and a sink, and could apparently function as a nurse's office. Kimasawa and Jessica had accompanied him. Signs of Kaneka's blood remained on the floor, judging by the large amount of blood lost with the shape of the weapon that fallen carelessly to the ground. I figured that Dr. Nanjo's treatment probably ended in vain. That weapon was doubtlessly the same type that had been stuck in Iba's and Uncle Hideyoshi's foreheads. My weight means that the demonic design handled a little different. There seemed to be small differences in the part. So as far as the overall shape was concerned, the weapons were all the same type. Though it had been seen brutal, we'd left the weapon stuck in Umineko Hideyoshi to preserve the crime scene, so this is the first time we were unable to have a perfect view of the entire weapon. As we had expected, the weapon was not bladed like a knife, but shaped like an ice pick, or rather a thin stake, and had a spiral-shaped pattern sort of like a drill. It looked like something had been driven into the hearts of a human sacrifices or some demonic ritual. Including the handle, it was about 25 centimeters long. Half of that was stake-shaped part, which stained with deep red blood. The length of the blood-stained part made it clear just how deeply it must have penetrated the Kanagan's chest. And that's who he rested, didn't even look at the weapon, and instead stood in front of the incinerator, where the horrible stench was emanating from. They must have been dragged out that thing which had been burned in the furnace. It was still smoldering, and he kept sitting on dense waves of the awfully unpleasant smell. Kanji Samurai stared down at it. And Natsuki couldn't turn instead and look directly at it. She kept shaking her head back to it. Ooh, I thought nothing could surprise me after it didn't happen, but this is... I stood there for all morning with the urge to vomit. The true source of the unearthly stench was a scorched corpse that had been cooking inside the incinerator. The clothes surfaced the body, and the hair were all hideously burned. The gross dead corpse was in a state where their face and the age or even the gender could be guessed at. When I thought about calmly, I realized that corpse appearing at the same time could only be one person. It was grandfather who had disappeared that morning and whose whereabouts had been unknown. I believe it was most likely the master. I agree that he would pass away in such a state. It is heart-rending. But this is any proof that this corpse really is grandfather. It's burned so black you can't even tell what sex it is. But I look at the feet, and that's with the handkerchief over her mouth and her eyes averted, pointing and told me to look at the burned corpse's feet. Notice how there are 6 toes at each foot. Huh? Ah, you're right. Just as Giji's son had said, there were 6 toes at each foot. Each individual toe had looked so normal in its line that I hadn't noticed. The master was born with 6 toes at both of his feet. Consequently, the master was entrusted with the revival of the Ushiromir family. I have heard that since long ago, cases of polydactyl were common in the Ushiromir family. It's probably hereditary. Polydactyl literally means many fingers, because of little mistake by God, when the person was born, one of their toes or fingers splits into 2, and the total number increases. But it wasn't a big deal. It's usually made up polydactyl in the world at large, but that's because it is a disease. It's just that people are born with. So while they're still babies at the time they turn 1 year old, they could be taken to the hospital and given surgery that make them normal. Even though the child with polydactyl could be treated before they become aware, they might not even remember it themselves. By the way, it seems that there is a possibility for this to occur in 1 out of every 2,000 babies. So even though it's not usually seen, this it isn't that rare at all. Speaking of which, I think Umineko Hideyoshi mentioned something to me long ago. Something about how even Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who unified Japan at the end of the Sengoku period, had 6 fingers on one hand. According to Anatsuhi, among the many Ushiromir family has one of the most praised with their wisdom all had polydactyly, I don't know. Because of that, when grandfather was born, his relatives were all excited at the thought that he might become another wise leader. And when the leading relatives all died in the Great Kento earthquake, he was apparently argued that grandfather should be the one to restore their family because it's the auspicious sign of his birth. If grandfather had disliked his position as the head so much as 6 toe, Papa had been pretty lucky for him. Yeah. Come to think of it, I've heard people about some country where it's believed people with polydactyl should be treated as gods and revered. This, beside the point, but it's very common in mystery novels will of course be burned to hide its identity. Like I said, in grandfather's case, it's just toasting him wouldn't be enough. And grandfather's body was not simply burned. It was just like uneven Uncle Yoshi, and the thing that had been slipped into Kanagan's chest when those demon ice picks were stuck into his forehead. Nami's finger is not on his finger, so the letter last night was told the truth. Father would probably be horribly disappointed, and that sweet son let her head droop and her eyes closed tightly. This room had been a vital crime scene first. I numbered to the police. It was decided that we would leave grandfather's corpse here and lock the room ceiling it. Anything clear when grandfather's corpse started burning the incinerator, since according to Genji, the strength of the flames had been as strong. The body must have started burning a long time ago, so that stitch could slowly creep out of the furnace, fill the room bit by bit, eventually pouring out, climbing up the staircase. Putting aside whether he was rare or well done, grandfather had been brought out and killed and burned, even though he had started out locked away in the closed room created by his auto lock. There's probably no doubting this. However, according to Genji-san, the boiler room is usually locked. The possibility that someone outside our group is stuck in and committed a crime was overwhelmingly high, and there was also a good chance that this person was walking around something like a master key. After all, the doors and windows throughout the mansion had been checked, but despite that, the culprit was able to strut around the mansion freely. Does this crime confirm that the Nazi person exists? There's still a contradiction since they're trying to tout their existence without even showing themselves once. Along with Kari Sanchez's board theory, I've been using this contradiction of deny the existence of a 19th person. By spreading the chessboard around once more, the very fact that this crime makes it perfectly obvious that a 19th person exists means that the existence of the 19th person is even less plausible as long as the 19th person doesn't show themselves in front of us. If the culprit could get grandfather out through the door sealed by the receipt, if they could kill an Umineko Hiyoshi from the other side of a door sealed by a chain, then could they possibly go so far as to create a fictional 19th person through its strange tricks and devices? If we still want to believe that the culprit is among the 18, then the list of suspects have been grown very short. The four of us kids, Natsuhi, Genji-san, Kumasawa, Bacha, and Dr. Nancho. One of these people has to be the culprit. Wait, we can't be sure of that. It's just seconds ago we started doubting one of the corpse was actually grandfather's, right? Maybe we could think of the other bodies the same way. For example, the first six, all their faces horribly smashed. So the bodies have been kept enough of their faces for us to confirm who they were, but that old bastard, for example, has lost its entire face as though the whole thing had been neatly peeled off. We only figured out which body was which by their clothing and surroundings. Did the culprit prepare a fake body beforehand and altered to make it look like they died, even though they were actually hiding somewhere after they committed the crime? It may sound ridiculous, but it shouldn't be an impossible trick to pull off. It's too early to give it to another person. Know this witch. Mariah, you mustn't stare so fixedly anymore. Come on, Bat, look at you too. I'm worried about Kennecon's condition. We mustn't remain in a place like this any longer than necessary. Let us return. Ooh. Mariah didn't go out with everyone else but remained in the boiler room. The thing was staring at was so fixedly at probably was a grandfather's body, but the demon's eyes being sticking to the forehead. It was probably the servant of that enthusiasm couldn't bear to ignore. I took her in the head. Hey, Mariah, what's that Beatrice after? Is it all of our lives? Kihi, Beatrice will revive very soon. At that time, none shall be left alive, Kihi. How can you laugh at something like that? Do you think you're the only one who's safe? Why don't you feel like you're in danger? Or aren't you scared? Beatrice made a promise. She said she was going to take me to the Golden Land. It's a wonderful place where you have no obligations. Everyone's always together, and everyone's always nice to everyone else. I'm looking forward to it. That time will come very soon now. Kihihi. Just look at person is Mariah. I only know what Mariah was like 6 years ago when she was 3. She was much pure and outbidding, a good kid. This Mariah 6 years later, and the Mariah I knew didn't seem to fit together. Just who is this? Just who is she? That's what she calls herself Mariah. To Mariah, who is upsetly believes that the witch, this series of unsolvable crimes, is proof that witch actually exists. Every time something occurs that would be difficult for a human, it becomes a little harder for the rest of us to not believe it. Beatrice. It must be an intense pleasure for Mariah to see her relatives who once firmly denied the witch's existence and start acknowledging the witch's existence one by one. Is that why she's in high spirits? Mariah, let me ask this one more time. You'll probably answer the same way, but I'll just want some more. Ooh? Yes, sir, you were given London in the Rose Garden. Who gave it to you? Ooh. Like I said, Beatrice. Battler Stoughton doesn't believe. Ooh. Mariah only repeated what she had already said. Mariah may have done nothing to the the witch. Was that really Dr. Wetzel or the one they just get her to say that? All that's certain is that Mariah has been the rest of us because they had always had an alibi and hasn't done anything suspicious. She's simply overjoyed at being made Beatrice's messenger and certainly isn't the 19th person, supposedly. That's right, and when it was in an uncle that we picked up from Aunt Eva and Uncle Yoshi's room, and that's who you should still have it with her. Okay, well guys, I'm ending the video here, and I will see you guys later.